See, this is the thing, because I've had them here for so long, they've kind of just moved about, and they've sort of taken on this shape that you see here. I guess starting with what pops out first, it is a DMG Game Boy. I got this a little over a year ago. It had the pretty common problem of the vertical lines across the screen. That problem is very, very easy to fix. You just gotta run a soldering iron over some of the pins. I think I actually have some footage of me doing that. I planned to make it into a video and then I just didn't. And I also had to reattach the screen lens because I was really stubborn and I didn't want to get a new screen lens. I think I mentioned this in the ThinkPad video, how I got the double-sided tape for the Game Boy. So there's the same red double-sided tape under the screen lens, and it has held tight. It hasn't dropped once. I don't think it's ever gonna drop. That tape is some great stuff, man. I'm a big fan of that damn tape. I remember specifically, I just sort of woke up one day and was like, I need to get a DMG Game Boy. And it's been neat. It's been cool. I like it. Now check out this. This is a Game Boy Advance SP. I got this not too long ago. I didn't plan to get a Game Boy Advance SP. It happened to me. I had no control over it. An accident practically. 25 euros for this thing. I don't know. I can't help it. I keep on just finding myself in the right place at the right time. What can I say? Just on the front page, there was like a new listing thing. It was a Game Boy Advance SP for 25 euros. You know, I bought it. I didn't even think about it. I didn't consider if should I go for this? Is this a good thing? Do I need a Game Boy Advance SP? Bro, you see a Game Boy Advance SP for 25 euros, you take it. The best price outside of that I've seen for one of these in maybe the last 5 years was 50. That's actually double. That's double what I paid for this. Opening this one-handed is okay, doable. It's in pretty good condition. I mean, I'm not gonna say that it's great. It has its fair share of scars from battle, but it's fine. It's acceptable. Continuing with the Game Boys, there's the Game Boy Color. This one has a little lanyard attached to it. I bought a bundle of these lanyard things from eBay 5 years ago, and I sort of just attached them to some things. Some things I took them off of, and then this one I didn't, apparently. This one is not as recent as those other ones. Probably been 7 years since I got this thing. I actually bought it from a physical store. If you ever go to Finland, there's a high likelihood that you will go to Kamppi. Kamppi is a place in Helsinki, the capital. It's sort of the transportation center of Helsinki, where all the buses leave from there, all the trains leave from there. In Kamppi there is a store, Konsolinet. It's in the shopping center, 3rd floor or something. Might be 4th, I don't know, I don't remember. I've been there a few times, and one of those times I happened to pick up a Game Boy Color. I paid, 35 euros for this, and I feel as though 35 is a pretty reasonable price for a Game Boy Color. It's a little scratched up, but it does the job. It functions. I've actually played a lot of my Game Boy games on this thing, and it's great, it's solid. I don't really know why I decided to start with the consoles. I could have just as well started with these, and they're kind of at the front, but whatever, we're going with this. There's a DS, an original DS. Let me see if I can open it up. I think it's coming up on 4, if not exactly 4. I think it might have been 2021 August when I got this, actually. Yeah, 4 years. It has served me great. This is a great device. I got this from eBay for 20. The condition I got it in was completely pristine. It was incredible. And I think it was just because no one really wanted these original DSs. No one really cares about them. Everyone just likes the DS Lite and the DSi. These ones go for pretty cheap still to this day, but I doubt they go for as cheap as, 20. That was kind of insane, honestly, but they were commonly going for 20. It wasn't even a great deal that I found. It was just a thing that people did back then, I guess. The main reason why I got this thing was to install what you see right there, which is a capture card. It has a little capture board right around there, so it can record footage. That's pretty cool. It's done that for me, and it's been very solid. I ordered the kit from Loopy, and then I did the mod myself. It went flawlessly. There were no problems, and it has also worked perfectly. There have been no problems. So this has been a very, very positive experience. Everything about it. I like the original DS form factor. I felt that it has a very good battery life. Maybe it's the fact that I play a lot of Game Boy Advance games on this, so maybe those ones don't use as much battery. But I don't know. It's great. Let's go over this here. It's in a little cat bag. Let me open it. And inside it is a Game Boy Micro. I just now realized that I should probably actually like show the consoles turning on as well, but yeah, they do all function. For a long time, the Game Boy Micro was kind of an obsession of mine, where I really wanted to get one because I just thought it was such a neat idea to have a console that is this small. Let me put it next to the other consoles that I've showed off here. Game Boy Color is a very small console, and this thing is like considerably smaller. Yeah, the Game Boy Micro is small, man. It is really tiny, and I really like that. I like the concept of a little weird, fucked up, evil console like this. It's not greatly practical. I have used it a good bunch. I would say I've gotten a good amount of playtime out of it, and I've enjoyed that playtime, but I won't claim that it's my favorite way to play Game Boy Advance games. As for why it's green, it's because I couldn't find a gray one. I kind of wanted a gray one, silver, whatever the default color is. I was thinking of getting a micro for maybe a year. There was never any good prices, and then at one point I reached like a peak of obsession where I just needed to get one. The next good priced one that shows up, I'm buying it. And then this one showed up for 65 euros. Normally the Game Boy Micros go for starting at 90, oftentimes going for over 100. 65 is a pretty good price. The condition is pretty good. It's not perfect, it has some scratching, but most of the scratches are on the front plate, which can be replaced. I like this kind of green. I like this sort of shade of green. It's not bad, and it was very cheap, relatively. Let's start digging into this one. My 3DS, 2017. Kind of a weird time to get a new 3DS, because the Switch came out that year. Remember, it was sort of like a deliberate decision that I made to get a new 3DS rather than sort of as a Switch. I don't know why I did that. I ended up getting the Switch a little later. I still don't really know why I did that. Yeah, because of the exposure settings, it's just gonna show up as sort of white anyway. So I'm just gonna turn the thing off. I've played a lot of 3DS games on here, and eventually when I get around to playing Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, I will use this for it. So it's gonna get a lot of use at that point. I'm currently playing through Portable 3rd. After that, I'll probably go to 4 Ultimate. But I really love the new 3DS. It's a great size for a handheld, kind of the perfect size, honestly. It feels amazing in the hand. In terms of the overall build and finish, the corners and everything, it's absolutely peak design. It's probably the most well-designed console ever. It's really, really good. I love it. I like the faceplates that it has. I don't have any faceplates, even without any custom, like, unique looking faceplates, just the default black one. I like that it gives a little bit of like a layering to it, where, you know, this one is like a deeper black and this one is sort of like a gray. It looks nice. I would like to get some custom faceplates, but those are expensive. They're very, very expensive, and there's no third-party aftermarket ones for some reason. I don't know how that hasn't been done yet. Do we not have the technology for that? Surely there's a market for that. The kids love the 3DS. They love hacking it and then playing GBA ROMs on it, which is just the best use for a 3DS. It's a great console. I really like it. And there's a lot of 3DS games that I want to play. DS games nowadays, I would rather play on the DSi XL, or maybe even the original DS, which I showed. But, you know, 3DS games, this is probably the best place to do it. Now, in the very back, in a Audio-Technica bag, this is my 3DS that I had growing up, and this is sort of my childhood console, I guess, in a weird way. The first console I ever played was the GBA, but it was my brother's GBA, and the first console that I had that was my own was a DS Lite. The DS Lite I don't have anymore, unfortunately, so this is sort of the oldest remaining console that I have. I got it in 2013. I haven't used this in a long time. I mean, since 2017, I assume. Currently, it does not power on because there is no battery. One day I sort of remembered that you shouldn't really leave batteries in consoles for a long time, and that one had been there for I think 7 years at that point. And I checked on it and it was doing the whole pillow thing. It was kind of ballooning. I did not want this thing to blow up, and you know, if it blows up in there, I'm gonna lose a lot of stuff if that happens. So I took the battery out, I threw it away, and since I don't really have any use for this 3DS, because of that I haven't bothered to get a new battery, and that's why it was kind of at the back there, hidden away from view. The screen has a little indent on it, pierce damage type of thing. This one, I'm not even gonna open this because putting it back together is annoying, but there's some cables over there. You can see a little purple cable. That's the GBA link cable. I also got a Game Boy Color link cable. I think that's it. I think this is just it's a COS bag. Why do I have so many audio things with bags? I guess a lot of them do come with bags. Yeah, this one was from the Porta Pros. I have Porta Pros. I actually use them a lot. I use the Porta Pros a lot. They're not my main headphones, but I use them as sort of like a secondary. I like them. But yeah, apparently the bag for them is here. I didn't even realize that. Next up, we have before that, actually, let's talk about this because another bit of cables. What is this? I actually am not really sure. A 3DS cable, and then jumbled up together with it, they're kind of part of the same thing now, is a Game Boy Micro charger cable. Let's address this little mystery bag here. It's batteries. There are, let me dig one out. I think it's a 2025 battery. Maybe it's a 2032, I don't know. These are the things that you put into the carts over here so that they can actually save. This one is another Audio-Technica bag. I think this one was some headphones, but there's nothing inside. Now we're left with these 3 compartments here. This is the fun compartment where I kind of just put anything and everything that kind of belongs here, but also doesn't really belong anywhere. IKEA Lada batteries. These are fantastic. They're actually amazing. I'm gonna go on a rant here. You do not need to mod your Game Boy Advance or Game Boy Color with a USB charging port and a battery, because you can just get a set of these. I am IKEA's #1 soldier when it comes to this. I don't really like them otherwise. I think it was under 10 euros for a set of 4 IKEA Lada batteries and the charger. They last a long time. They go into the Game Boy Advance, the Game Boy Color, and when I am running low on battery, I have another 2 ready to go. And then I just put these in the charger. So I don't need to wait for it to charge with the USB-C cable. I don't need to mod the device to get the USB-C port in there. The solution is right here, okay? You don't need to add a fucking USB-C port to a goddamn DMG. That does not belong there. It was never made to have a USB-C port. It was made to play Tetris and bring smiles to people, not have a goddamn USB-C port. A Digital Monster virtual pet. I was having like a Digimon thing going on. I was really into Digimon. I mean, I'm always kind of into Digimon, but back then I was special, and I got one of these. And I played it for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something. It was great. I enjoyed it. But then my Digimon died, and I just didn't want to continue. These ones, especially the 20th anniversary ones, they're very cheap, easy to come by. Actually, I don't know if they are anymore, but they used to be cheap, easy to come by. Sucks for you if they're no longer that. I think my favorite Digimon might be Chimeramon. Pildramon is really cool. He has like guns, machine guns on his like hip. Like what? It's such a cool design, and I love the concept of the DNA Digivolution. This right here is a tally counter. What I use it for is counting Pokemon encounters when I'm doing shiny hunting. The number that you see right there, 3,332, is the encounter where I got my shiny Kyogre in Pokemon Sapphire, and I haven't used this tally counter since then, because I haven't really done much shiny hunting since then. I'm thinking of getting back into it. I'm kind of feeling it. I'm feeling like it's calling to me. I want to do a shiny hunt soon. I'm not gonna click it here because I don't want to ruin the number here, but it's very satisfying. This click, oh my god, I can only describe it so well. These things cost like nothing. They're free. They're free. Get one. Just if for nothing else, just to click it. It's amazing. We have a USB stick. I think this is a functional one, maybe. I actually might have some use for this soon because I'm planning on installing an operating system on a computer. Oh, the lanyards, remember that little foreshadowing there. I mentioned the lanyards, here they are. There's still a lot of them left. Ooh, look at this, a Pokewalker. Nice. Next we got a PSP battery. That's neat. I used to have a good bunch of Pokemon cards. I don't really care for collecting Pokemon cards. It's never really been my thing. Typhlosion. We got a Yveltal EX. We got a Raikou. Shiny Raikou. We got a Sceptile EX. We got a T-Tar. These are from the Heart Gold and Soul Silver set. I remember that. Got a T-Tar. Houndoom. This is the Houndoom card. I remember people were real into this one some time ago on the social medias. They like this one. There's a Bennett EX and then a Garchomp X. Why they went from like EX to X and then they went back to EX later. I never knew what that was all about. And then a Giratina X. So pretty cool, pretty neat. I think I once looked up if any of these have any value and the answer was like a fat no. None of these are in like particularly good condition, and even the ones that were like PSA 10s were maybe like $15 on a good day. I really like Game Boy cartridges. I'm a big fan of them, and I'm a firm believer that I need to actually get more of these things. I wouldn't really consider myself a collector in most things video games. I don't really care about getting all the consoles or anything like that. Certain consoles will pique my interest and I'll want to get one, even if I don't necessarily know what I'll play on them. And there's things like the Game Boy Advance SP where I don't need one, but it was such a good price, so I got one. But when it comes to games especially, I don't care about collecting DS games or something like that. I'll get the ones that I actually want to play. Game Boy is the one console, one platform where, you know what, I probably do just want to buy Game Boy games just for the sake of having them in a collection, because I don't know, I think the cartridges are just super neat. I think they're super fun, and I just like Game Boy as a platform a lot. We got Saga, one of the first RPGs on the Game Boy. It also has a really cool box art. Kirby's Dream Land, great game, fun game, I like it. Pokemon Yellow, I haven't played it on cartridge yet, and I need to do that. Pokemon Red and Green, great games, fantastic games. I really like Gen 1. Mogura Nia, or Mole-Mania. I haven't played through all of it, but I played through enough of it to say that it's a good time. It's fun. This game goes by 3 different names. So if you know Secret of Mana, this is the game before that in that series. They released it in the US under the name Final Fantasy Adventure, and then in Europe as Mystic Quest. Super Mario Land 2, great game, fun time. Link's Awakening, or Yume Omiru Shima. I haven't played this one yet. Link's Awakening is regarded as one of the best Zelda games by a lot of people, so I'm excited to play it. And it's a Game Boy game. Has some marking there. That's another beautiful part of it. I really don't care too much about the condition. As long as the art here is perfectly intact, the sticker, I don't really care about the rest of the cart. I feel like anything like this just kind of gives it personality. This Super Mario Land cart right here is very yellowed, especially at the front. I don't know how well you can see it. Yeah, next to the Kirby. Kirby's Dream Land 2. This is a fantastic game. Genuinely amazing. I really love this. This was a game that kind of got me into Game Boy games. You know, prior to this, I had played Pokemon, maybe one of the Marios or something. But when I played this one, I was like, wow. This was really fun. It's especially animated pretty nicely. Like the way Kirby moves around just looks clean. A lot of the lesser Game Boy games, let's put it, don't look this clean. But it kind of made me appreciate like what the Game Boy is capable of. And that's all the original Game Boy games that I have. Here's the Game Boy Colors. So Bokujo Monogatari 3. I don't know what the Boy Mitsugaru. It's Harvest Moon 3. Look at the little cow on the sticker. Very cute. Haven't played this one. I see a lot of these Game Boy carts are, when you're buying from eBay sellers, the main thing you're paying for is the shipping. These carts themselves, this one was probably €3. If you're buying like a specific game from an eBay seller, might as well throw in a couple Game Boy games while you're at it. And this was one of those. I've heard good things about Harvest Moon. I think Harvest Moon 3 is a pretty well regarded one. Might play it one day, I don't know. Doesn't have a battery. I need to replace that at some point if I want to play it. Pokemon Crystal. This is one of my favorite games, possibly my second favorite game. I think it's Dark Souls 1, Pokemon Crystal. Third spot is whatever I'm feeling that day. I especially like the Japanese card, has the Suicune thing on the back. I want to play this again. I've been fighting this urge to play Pokemon Crystal. I've also been considering Pokemon Soul Silver. I think I just want to play Johto, man. Johto is my favorite region, and it's calling to me really, really badly. But the problem is that I'm playing Pokemon Black still. I've beaten the game, like the main game, but I'm doing like battle subway stuff. I'm kind of building a team and shit. And it's like, I know if I play this or Pokemon Soul Silver, then that's gonna go on indefinite pause, the Pokemon Black stuff. And it's like, I don't really want that, so for now, I'm holding off for now. But once I feel like I've reached like a satisfactory point in Pokemon Black, I'm putting this in the Game Boy Color and I'm never looking back. Pokemon Silver. We have Pokemon Silver. This is actually my brother's. My brother had Pokemon Silver and he didn't really ever play it at all. The battery had gone bad. We didn't know how to change the batteries back then. For the longest time, this was sort of just unusable. Since then, I've changed the battery and it can save now. We got another Pokemon Silver, this time in Japanese. When I first got into the idea of buying Game Boy games, I wanted to get boxed copies. I decided to get a boxed Pokemon Silver. I think the crystal boxes were like pretty expensive even back then, so I got Silver. I'll put up like a picture of it, I can't be bothered to get it. The other boxed game that I got was Tetris DX, and then the third one that I got was the Kirby's Dream Land 2, which I went over earlier. Tetris DX is amazing. It's the 40 lines mode. I haven't seen anyone online talk about how the 40 lines mode is incredible. It's basically Tetris speedrunning, but in a very approachable form. Yeah, I haven't played it in a long time now, but now that I think about it, I kind of need to get back to it because it is really, really fun, and especially playing on a real cart, on real hardware. It's really fun. The remaining stuff are Game Boy Advance carts. I found that I don't really care about the platform outside of Pokemon. I'm sorry to say it. I know that's like a sacrilegious statement. The graphics of the system are really not to my taste, I would say. And none of the games on it really speak to me much, but you know, that could change, I suppose. Pokemon, I do like Pokemon. Gen 3 Pokemon is very solid, so we got Pokemon Sapphire, we got Pokemon Leaf Green, Emerald. This one is also from my brother. This is one of those things where I sort of, you know, the Silver, it's like, he doesn't give a shit about Silver. Me keeping it, whatever. But this was his, like, childhood, you know? So if he asks for this, if he's like, can I get my Pokemon Emerald? I'm gonna say sure, and I'll give it to him. But for now, you know, I'm getting more use out of it. I've held on to it for maybe the last 15 years now, but if he wanted it, I would give it back to him. Kirby's Amazing Mirror. I was playing this game, and then around the same time, I was playing Hollow Knight. I was just having like a rough time in both games. I only played this one for a few hours. Hollow Knight, I got to the basic ending, and I did some of the stuff to sort of try to progress towards 100% completion. I think I only got up to like 70, and I know that it goes up to like 112 or whatever. I was having kind of a rough time in both games. Eventually it just kind of clicked with me that I don't like Metroidvanias. It's just the things that make up the Metroidvania genre are gameplay concepts that I just generally do not like. When I made that realization, I stopped playing this game. I stopped playing Hollow Knight. It does look beautiful though. This game is a very good looking Game Boy Advance game. I mean, the Kirby never fails. Kirby games are just visually, they're always fantastic. I don't know what it is about I think it's HAL Laboratory. They know what they're doing when it comes to visuals, man. This is the DSi XL. I don't have it in there because I have it on my desk since I regularly use it currently. If you want more info on this, watch the video. I made like an entire video about this and Pokemon Black. A Game Boy Advance that is very modded. This has an ITA screen on it, so Well, actually, it doesn't have any batteries. Another great thing about batteries is that when you load them in, it kind of feels like you're reloading the console, kind of like a shotgun. That is really bright. I don't really know how I'm supposed to have like good brightness while also not making the screens too bright. I don't know enough about recording stuff with cameras to be able to come up with a way of solving that, but regardless, it's a Game Boy Advance. It's been very modded. The shell, the buttons, I mean the only thing OEM is the damn board inside. I wanted to get it for shiny hunting. I'm not one to usually really mind non-backlit screens, but with shiny hunting, I mean it is pretty crucial to be able to see whether the Pokemon is shiny or not. I modded it with an ITA screen. The resolution is basically the same as the original screen. IPS screens will look a lot kind of sharper and more like an emulator compared to the normal thing. Clear black and black buttons kind of thing going on here. It looks pretty nice. I played a good amount on this until I got the Game Boy Micro, and after that I've mostly just been playing on the Game Boy Micro. It is kind of weird how I mean I mentioned that I don't really care about the GBA that much, yet I have a Game Boy Advance, I have a Game Boy Micro, I have an original DS, which I've mostly used for GBA games. Now I also have a Game Boy Advance SP. And I'm not using any of those consoles for the OG Game Boy games, by the way. I only play these on like Game Boy Color or the DMG. Mostly the DMG if it's, you know, these gray cards. Because yeah, I have like a very autistic obsession with authenticity, kind of playing games on the intended platform, the original form of the game. And obviously I make my exceptions, I do shit like this, but most of the time, usually, I aim to play the original version. It's a PSP 2000. Inside is what I've been lately playing, which is Portable Third. Having a great time with that. I still can't really believe that the PSP just has like a disk drive in it. You know, the Game Boy cartridges are neat, but also it's just not like the coolest thing ever. Like it just has like a disk drive in there. It's stuff like this that really gets my brain in a twist, man. I've mostly played Monster Hunter on here. I have a couple other games, but they're kind of whatever. I don't really even care to go over them. There's a couple games that I've kind of looked at as like that could be interesting, whatever, but I haven't bothered to yet, and right now I'm playing Portable Third. That's gonna keep me busy for a while. I like how it feels. I like that it has a stick. The only problem really is that the battery is kind of bad. It's kind of not great, and it makes sense. I'm not saying that it's like disappointingly bad or something. With how powerful the PSP is, yeah, the battery is gonna be a little shit, but it is kind of rough when you get to maybe 2 hours of playtime at most. Yes, I do have custom firmware on here. Monster Hunter I'm running off the memory stick, not the disc, even though I have the disc still in there. Sometimes if I just quickly want to check something, I'll run it off the disc, since that way I don't need to go into the custom firmware. If I'm playing for a long session, I usually run it off the memory stick because it reduces load times, and I'm pretty sure it also improves the battery life. The disc reader is pretty loud, kind of charming, honestly. I kind of like the little whirring sound it makes. I'll put a little audio recording here of it. The reason why I was taking all of those games and consoles out of there was because I'm moving them to a new place, which is what you see right here, the top compartment, and I've actually already moved them there. Right now I've got the DS kind of there wrapped in the Audio-Technica bag, and the Game Boys at the back, and then right here the PSP, new 3DS and DSi XL. Game Boy games are over there, and then all the other stuff is at the back. For now, this layout is pretty good, and I like having the games here since they're kind of closer to my whole setup. It's kind of part of the desk. This is not yet completely empty. I have the GBA in here, but outside of that, it's just game boxes. There's a lot of DS games and 3DS, PSP, and PS4, PS3. All my Switch games. I could probably just store these somewhere else since I don't really need them available at all times, but I'll need to figure that out. I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. I think I'm still gonna try out some other configurations to see if I can save any more space here, because kinda running out of space over here. If I get any more Game Boy carts, I'll have to put them into this one with the Game Boy Color games. If I get any more consoles, it's gonna get really difficult fitting them in here. But yeah, I'm gonna get back to playing Pokemon Black. I have the DSi right there. I just played it a little bit ago, and I'm gonna get back to that. I'm training up a crazy theme for the Battle Subway. It's gonna be great. I'm looking forward to it.